What's going on, everybody? My name's Ivan. Welcome. Let's talk about Apple and their stock apps and my epiphany about their stock apps. All right, so I've been in the Apple ecosystem for a hot minute. Since the iPhone 4, I have not left. The walls are high, guys. The walls are high. I have dug myself deep into the Apple ecosystem and I'm in it, and it's hard to get out. And this is where my epiphany comes in. I want to try Android phones, but people I communicate with, they have iMessage. I back up everything to iCloud. We have passwords that are synced in already. It's just like, just to move everything, it's a pain, right? So here we are with the iPhone 15 Pro Max. But I'm not happy with the depth of the stock Apple apps. What made me actually realize this is their Final Cut Pro for the iPad, believe it or not. So I got the iPad, I started recording these videos, started making videos. I'm like, cool, let's edit. I'm editing on the iPad. The Final Cut Pro had just came out for it. I'm like, cool. And I outgrew it in like 2 weeks. I learned it and everything, and I'm like, well, shoot. I'm like, they gave us like 7 transitions, a couple of effects. Like it was very basic, very limited. I'm like, whoa, okay, what's going on? So I started digging around a little bit, and boom, boop, pops up DaVinci Resolve. Maybe it was more than a couple weeks. Maybe it was a couple months that I had been using Final Cut Pro for the iPad, and I had a flow going, and I was pretty quick about it. I was pretty fast, and I started messing with DaVinci, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I'm painfully slow with this program. I'm like, I don't want to move. So I went back to Final Cut Pro. I went back there for a day, got stuck again real quick. I'm like, no, you know what? F it, man. No, I need to go learn that. I need to just break through the difficulty of learning something new and move over. Like, at least, like, I'm like, whatever it takes, I'm sticking with DaVinci for like a week or two. Just at least finish a couple projects on it, right? The pain of starting something new really limits us on actually starting that new thing. And this is where our mistake is. Like, we literally, if we would just stick with just that uncomfortableness for like a week later, it wouldn't be that uncomfortable. It would be slightly less uncomfortable. And if anything, we might learn something new, right? Like, I figured that out about myself like a few years back, that when I want to start something, when I want to start and learn something, I start it and I get overwhelmed with what I don't know, and I stop, and I'm like, oh, it's too much. Like, I can't do it, right? It's just that first initial uncomfortableness. I quit. Like, what the am I doing? Why am I always quitting things? Why am I never sticking with something and learn it? It's because of that first initial stage that I get overwhelmed and I want to back out. And now that I know that that's what it is, it's nowhere near as bad because I know what it is. It doesn't matter if I like it or not. It's like, I want to try something, right? But this led me to realizing something about Apple apps. Apple apps work smooth. Like, the Apple stock apps work nice. Nice transitions, good layouts. And it makes you think like, ooh, like, why would I go anywhere else? It like, this works so nice. Because for the longest time, their thing was, it works. It's Apple. Our shit just works. For a lot of the apps, they're fairly basic. Let's take the calendar, for example. The calendar, you put it on the month view, and there's just a bunch of dots there, right? And in order to see what is going on, you have to click on each individual day and dot and see what's what. You can't just have a whole month, open the month view, because I'm the month view calendar user. And then I saw another YouTuber say something about this calendar application called TickTick. I'm sure everybody probably knows about it. I didn't. I started looking into the calendar, and I'm like, man, this thing is customizable to exactly how I like it. There's the month view of exactly how I like it, and it has a to-do list built into the calendar app, right? Where in Apple, you have the to-dos and you have the calendar. If you add a to-do, it doesn't get added to the calendar. Where in this application, you add something, a list in the to-do, and it gets added on that day into your calendar. I'm like, how genius is that? How genius is that? And then I was just like, you know what? I have to venture out of Apple apps. And you know what? We all have to venture out of Apple apps. They work nice, they look nice, whatever, but for the most part, they are very limited. My only advice is get over the initial hump of being uncomfortable and try something different and get away from some of the stuck Apple apps because they are basic and there's a bigger world out there than just Apple, and sometimes we get stuck in our ways. And I just want to help somebody live a better life. All right, peace. The pain of starting something new really limits us on actually starting that new thing. And this is where our mistake is. Like, we literally, if we would just stick with just that uncomfortableness for like a week later, it wouldn't be that uncomfortable. It would be slightly less uncomfortable. And if anything, we might learn something new, right?